Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about the parts of animal and plant cells, also called organelles. Before we begin our presentation today, please turn to the Parts of a Cell page in your workbook or print both pages. Cut out the cell pictures and have a glue stick ready. You can pause this video at any time and fill out the cell's functions column and check off whether we are talking about the organelle of a plant, animal, or both. And then you can glue the picture in the picture column. You will be filling out the cell equals city part at a later point. So really quick, we're going to do a review. An organism is made of organ systems. Organ systems are made up of organs. Organs are made up of tissues, and tissues are made up of cells. Within each cell, there are different organelles, and organelles are structures within a cell that perform specific functions like controlling cell growth and producing energy. Now, plant and animal cells can contain similar types of organelles. However, certain organelles can only be found in plant cells, and certain organelles can only be found in animal cells. Scientists once thought that life spontaneously arose from non-living things. Thanks to experimentation and the invention of the microscope, it is now known that life comes from pre-existing life and that cells come from pre-existing cells. The classical cell theory was proposed by Theodor Schwann in 1839. There are three parts to his theory. The first part states that all organisms are made of cells. The second part states that cells are the basic units of life. These parts were based on a conclusion made by Schwann and Matthias Schleiden in 1838 after comparing their observations of plant and animal cells. The third part, which asserts that cells come from pre-existing cells that have multiplied, was described by Rudolf Virchow in 1858 when he stated that all cells come from cells. Cells are made up of organelles. Organelles are like tiny organs. Each organelle has a job to do or a specific function, just like our own organs. The organelles work together to keep that cell alive and healthy. Animal and plant cells can contain similar types of organelles. However, certain organelles can only be found in plant cells, and certain organelles can only be found in animal cells. The cell membrane is a continuous, almost invisible structure surrounding the cell. It supports and protects it, and it controls the movement of materials in and outside of the cell. Cytoplasm consists of all of the contents outside of the nucleus and enclosed within the cell membrane of a cell. It is clear in color and has a gel-like appearance. Cytoplasm is composed mainly of water, but also contains enzymes, salts, organelles, and various organic molecules. The cytoplasm functions to support and suspend organelles and cellular molecules. Many cellular processes occur in the cytoplasm, such as protein synthesis, the first stage of cellular respiration, mitosis, and meiosis. The cytoplasm helps to move materials such as hormones around the cell and also dissolves cellular waste. The nucleus is like the cell's brain. It uses DNA to control the cell's activity. It contains all of the information the cell needs to do specific jobs, grow, and divide. The information is stored in DNA molecules here, and it contains the nucleosis, which makes ribosomes. It also determines what proteins will be made. The nuclear membrane protects and guards the nucleus. It allows materials to pass in and out. It keeps the DNA inside the nucleus and allows other materials to pass in and out of it. Ribosomes are cell organelles that consist of ribonucleic acids, also called RNA, and proteins. They are responsible for assembling the proteins of the cell. Depending on the protein production level of a particular cell, ribosomes may number in the millions. The endoplasmic reticulum is the transportation system of the cell. It carries materials throughout the cell. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes attached to it so the proteins they make can be released directly into the endoplasmic reticulum for transport. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum collects things and contains them. The Golgi bodies packs and carries proteins in little bubbles that separate and float into the cytoplasm. It prepares the proteins for use of delivery outside of the cell. As the cell's power producers, mitochondria converts energy into forms that are usable by the cell. It does this by breaking down sugar molecules into energy. It needs oxygen to make energy and gives off carbon dioxide as waste. They are the sites of cellular respiration, which ultimately generates fuel for the cell's activities. Mitochondria are also involved in other cell processes such as cell division and growth, as well as cell death. Lysosomes are membranous sacs of enzymes, recycle the cell's organic material by digesting cellular macromolecules such as nucleic acids, polysaccharides, fats, and proteins. Vacuoles are storage bubbles found in cells. They are responsible for a wide variety of important functions in a cell, including nutrient storage, detoxification, and waste exportation. Animal and plant cells contain many of the same kinds of organelles. There are also certain organelles found in plant cells that are not found in animal cells, and vice versa. So the cell wall and chloroplast are only found in plant cells. The cell wall is a rigid outer wall positioned next to the cell membrane in most plant cells. It is not found in animal cells. This cell wall helps to provide support and protection for the cell. Chloroplast uses energy from the sun to make food for the plant through photosynthesis. Chloroplasts are the power generators for the plant. It gives the plants their green color. All right, can you guys now remember the function of each part of the cell? I want you guys to cut out the symbols and glue them next to the correct cell part if you haven't done so already. All right, now that we know all of the organelles and their functions, we can begin our Cell City project. First, I want you all to think of a city. How does it operate? Who protects the city? Who runs the city? How does the city manage its trash? How does the city get food? How does the city get its power? And how do you know when you are in the city limits? Now, think of a cell. What cell parts do you remember? Do the parts of the cell compare to any parts of a city? How many can you relate to the parts of a city? Cell nucleus? Mitochondria? For this project, we are going to compare a cell to a city. Each part of the cell has its own function or purpose. The parts of the cell can be compared to the parts of a city based on their similar purpose. An analogy is a similarity between like features of two things on which a comparison may be based. So here we have an example of a road equaling the endoplasmic reticulum. The road represents the endoplasmic reticulum because they are both transportation systems. So here's a little cheat sheet for you guys to help you get started. So we have on top the cell part, the city analogy, and the purpose. So we have the cell, which is the city, and it's an area with fixed boundaries. The cell membrane is like the city limits because it surrounds and borders. The cytoplasm is like the environment because of the inner space. The nucleus is like the city hall. It controls the activities. The nuclear membrane is like the police force because it protects. So you guys can pause here and look over everything. You can use this model or you can make up your own. All right, now we are going to get started on our Cell City project. You are going to create your own real or imaginary city Each part of your city will correspond to a part of the cell. Look at your worksheet from either today or yesterday, and you must include all the parts needed for your cell. First, I want you to sketch your city in pencil on a large piece of paper. Second, I want you to label and circle each part of the city. Third, create a legend in the corner of your city. Fourth, color your city completely and neatly. Here's one example of a student's cell city. You can see all of the different parts of the city, and it is numbered, so when you look at the legend, you can see what organelle is to what part of the city. Here is another cell city map. And here is a very unique map. This is a Shrek-inspired cell city. And here you can see the legend and the letters that go to the different organelles or city parts. So your map or picture must be neat, colorful, correctly labeled, and have a legend or key. Use pencil first, then color. Be creative. Have fun with it. Past examples included underwater cities, prehistoric cities, skate parks, amusement parks. There's no limit. So I do want you to include all the parts of the cell that we learned about. Have fun. So here is a list of the 13 things that you must include in your plant cell city. There's the cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, chloroplast, mitochondria, nucleus, lysosome, ribosome, vacuole, the Golgi body, the endoplasmic reticulum, and the nuclear membrane. Have fun. Can't wait to see your finished products. This assignment is going to be presented on January 20th when we restart our classes virtually. Have fun.